Alright, our next film is not this on here. There it is. The House is October built. Came upon this thanks to Foundflix, so give them credit for this because I don't know. I didn't really. I liked. Okay, so the story of this, there's about, I think it's 5 friends who are on a journey to find the most extreme haunt. The 5 friends, on top of my head, are Zach, Bobby, Brandy, Jeff. I think there's one more. The dude with the goat, with the beard. Remember his name. His not Bobby, he's someone else. I don't remember his name, but there are those 5 friends that are on a journey. They're doing this. It's supposed to be a documentary about the most, the haunted house things, extreme haunted houses. And they end up trying to find one called Blue Skeleton, which ends up being their demise. Or maybe not, because there's a sequel. I don't know, but I enjoyed the first part of this film when it was going around, getting behind the scenes footage of, haunted houses and stuff, and, talking to people who work there, and like, oh, we don't do background checks, and we don't know what our employees are, we just hire them, which kind of reminds you of the fair. When you look at the employees at the fair, and no offense to you who worked at the fair, but you got people with no teeth, and hillbillies, and just, the worst looking kind of carnies you can ever have, you know what I mean? And you think, did they do a background check on these people? No. And this tells you, hey, there's no background check on these people, so they're going to be serial killers and murderers in there, and you don't know. I really like the first half of this. It's when it becomes an actual found footage horror film. It's all found footage, but it becomes an actual horror film that it kind of went downhill for me. And beginning of this film, okay, so I've said this before in other reviews, but I hate it when they show a scene from later in the film because it gives away something. Like, say, Don't Breathe, when you see him dragging Jane Levy down the street. Okay, well, everything up to that, what she's trying to get away, she's not going to get away because she's being dragged back down the street. I hate it when they do that. So the first scene of this film is Brandy, the only female member of this crew, thrown into a trunk. So eventually she's gonna get thrown into a trunk. You're going through all this thing. Okay, maybe they're not gonna find it, but we know thanks to that scene, they're gonna find something, and they're gonna be in deep shit. I'm a little more surprised. What if the twist was it was just a documentary about this stuff? They never found any extreme haunt. It would have been something, or a twist that, hey, they found it, but we didn't know about it, but this is telling us, hey, something's going to happen. And yes, you can sit there and say, it's found footage, we know something's going to happen. Not really, because it's set up like a documentary, so we can just be watching a documentary. And yeah, I'm still very confused because they find these people, like, hundreds of miles away from where they actually need to go. There's a person in a bunny suit, there's a doll-faced lady, and there's a clown. And they're at different haunts, I believe different haunts, across hundreds of miles. And they all are a part of this Blue Skeleton cult thing. I like when they would go to the strip club. That's pretty cool. Got to see some titties. I'm a guy, so that made me smile. But I don't know. This movie just didn't do it for me. I am gonna do the sequel. I don't know. The ending also left me kind of like knowing with knowledge that there's a sequel. It feels unfinished to me. Like, okay, so the ending of this film, you have Jeff. He's in an alley, and he gets knocked out or killed, or we're presumed. and then the rest of them are taken and they're buried alive. You see Brandy thrown to a trunk, and when she comes to, she's buried alive, and the rest of them are buried alive, and Phil. And yeah, but there's a sequel, and you could always have a sequel following someone else who's trying to find them. It was real, but I know that all the actors, for the most part, like all the main actors, come back for the sequel. So I know they're going to be in it. So I know they're all not dead, including Jeff, who we're supposed to think was stabbed, but we know that they're not. That he wasn't. So it kind of takes away from that. Knowing that there's a sequel, it takes away from that. If there was no sequel, the ending is a holy shit moment. Like, oh my god, are they buried alive? Are they dead? What's going to happen? But now that we know there's a sequel, that's taken away. We know they're going to be in that sequel, and we know they're not really buried alive. They are buried alive, but they're not going to die. It's just an extreme haunt. I think that a more logical would be that if it was real, and then the sequel followed a new group, also trying to find this blue skeleton, because, do a meta thing like Grave Encounters 2. Well, that movie's not that good. You could say these two saw the first film and are doing their own sequel looking for this blue skeleton. They want to know if it's real or not. That would be a better sequel. And you could also say, oh, there's a sequel, but none of the characters from the first film are in it. And you can say, okay, they died, but they're trying to find out if they really did die or not. But I'm sorry, it just didn't do anything for me. It's another middle-of-the-road movie for me. That's 2 in a row. It's just the middle of the road. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just there, to be honest. Maybe the sequel will be better, but I don't have any hopes. Then again, I have no hopes going into it. Maybe it will shock me. Cabs. Anyway, what are your thoughts on The House is October Built? Yes, it's a short one because, 1, I'm under time constraints, and 2, there's not really much to say about it. But I did like the first half, the documentary part. I really kind of enjoyed that, but then it went downhill. But, what are your thoughts on The House is October Built? Then in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.